Today on Let's Build, we are going to build the Brickcraft MTV Boombox and do some reminiscing on it. Hello and welcome back to the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Jim.
I'm Bob.
And today we are going to build this Brickcraft MTV Boombox thing that I picked up at Walmart. I think at the time when I picked it up it was $4.99. So honestly, for as many pieces it is, which it is 96 pieces, that's not that bad. I mean, obviously it's not, not a Lego set or anything like that. It's by a company called Brickcraft.
That would be close to a $10 set for Lego as far as the piece count.
Yep.
So,
and when I saw that, it kind of brings back a little nostalgia because I actually own a boombox that's very similar to that. But it also kind of brought back a little bit of memory back when I used to actually watch MTV and MTV actually played music and everything like that. So let me open this thing up and we can get talking about.
Jim, I'm not going to lie. When you initially told me you had an MTV set, for some reason in my mind, I actually pictured like a building or like a set like a set of a set, you know? And it wasn't until I was on my way over here that I realized, well, wait a minute. No, there's that set of the moon guy, of the astronaut, and it's I bet it's one of those. So.
Yep. So this one, like I said, is 96 pieces. Comes with the radio and a cassette tape with it. Actually, the box is really decent. I mean, normally you get some of these and they're really kind of flimsy little boxes. As soon as you take the stuff out of it, they about collapse. It's actually pretty decent. I got an instruction booklet and 2 bags, and they are numbered. So.
Oh, look at that. So
Brickcraft looks like it's in New York. It's made in China, which makes sense. I mean, a lot of the...
I was going to say, at this point, what isn't, but...
True. I don't know, is MTV made in China now?
May as well be.
I don't know. And I don't say that being funny, because, there's a lot of companies and TVs, things, and stuff like that are owned by, people not inside the U.S., so...
Well, Jim, if I may make a minor diversion down that path real quick.
Yep.
That was actually a concern with the new Dune movies, because the company that ultimately made them, not the main studio, but the production company, I think it's Synchrony or Synchronicity, I could be wrong on that. But I remember seeing articles at the time where people were so this company's owned by the Chinese, and there's a lot of topics in here that the Chinese are really not very comfortable with. Are they going to allow that to actually be in the movie or not? And for the most part, they were, so... just an interesting little side note there. And that might have all changed after I read that article. It might have been a different company entirely, but that was the impression I was operating under.
Okay. So the booklet's nothing too fancy there. It's just a single sheet here with a total of 16 steps, which it looks like they just were able to cram a bunch of steps into each one, which, don't get me wrong, for a smaller set, I think that's probably perfectly fine. So
you're saying this is like the older Lego sets.
Well, heck,
where it's not here, it's not like the current ones where it's put these 2 pieces on. The older ones are here, put these 5 pieces on. You figure out where they went by looking at the 2 different pictures.
Well, everything's got to start from somewhere, so...
It's like a toy combined with a test.
But no, like I said, I saw this, and like I said, there was this one with the boombox, there was one with just a cassette, and then there was the moon guy.
Yeah.
All very iconic things that I remember growing up, watching MTV. So, not to show my age, but I lived through pretty much all of the MTV era, starting from the beginning to, I think when I finally stopped really caring about what was on MTV, and that was when it went completely to reality TV. Which, don't get me wrong, I think when the Real World started and stuff like that, I thought it was a neat concept. But when that becomes the most popular thing on your station, and people that talk about making money and stuff are going to look at that and go, you know what, that is where we're going to put our time and our effort, because why put it in stuff that people aren't going to be making money on?
I've been trying to think of the name of that show for 2 days since I had a conversation with Sarah.
What, the real world?
Yeah, like I could think of Road Rules, but I couldn't think of
Yeah.
the real world. And because she asked me about like just making conversation, asked me like what kind of like trashy reality TV shows I watch. I told her I don't watch any reality TV shows. And I explained like the reasoning that I have for it. One, I think they're mostly trash, but two, people don't realize this, but you know that the reason for all these shows originates with cops. Do you know that?
Because it's filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement?
Well, it came about because of a writer's strike, and someone had pitched the idea, but they didn't go for it. But then the strike happened, and they're like, look, this show requires no writers. We literally just have a camera guy follow the police around, and we'll edit it later. And they're like, well, okay. And then it caught on, and then MTV jumped in with the Real World, and then eventually Road Rules, and then Real World Road Rules Challenge every year. And that's where it snowballed. And then we've had a couple of the writer strikes, and each time we end up with more and more reality TV shows that become more and more bizarre. And yeah, so that's that. I just don't go in for them. I like Survivor. I watched one season. I've seen enough.
Well, and now they're doing Deal or No Deal on an island.
Yeah, I saw the ads for that.
But
Is that Joe Manganiello hosting that?
I did not.
I think it is.
Yeah, I've gotten to
He's
the.
probably still upset that his Dragonlance show ain't going to happen, and I'm upset with him.
I've just gotten to the point where I don't even watch. I don't even have like regular TV service. Though I did get Peacock just recently to watch a show that I couldn't stream anywhere else. So
Twisted Metal?
No, it wasn't that.
That's good, though. You should watch it.
It looks like it. No, the so it's funny because I remember one of the
Miss Davis, I think that's what it's called.
what?
It's where the nuns fighting the supercomputer for the fate of the world. And yes, that is the premise of the show, and it's good.
No, I remember back in very early days of MTV that one of the ongoing, one of the first kind of well, not first, but one of the earlier popular songs was "Video Killed the Radio Star."
That's actually the first video that was on the channel.
So, which is funny because MTV then killed the video star.
Yeah.
In a way, because it took what was music television and now.
Well, remember they initially tried to have like MTV2. There was like, we're going to play the music videos over on there, and we're going to do the shows over on MTV.
And then
I think they ended up with like 3 or 4 of them, didn't they?
Well, yeah. Then MTV2 became just a more
Yeah, just a clone of MTV.
It's bad because some of the stuff I vividly remember. I mean, when I was 4 or 5 or 6, I would watch MTV. Now, should my parents have let me watch MTV? I don't know. Probably not. But I remember, like when the new Michael Jackson videos would come on, because they were like a big, it was like a TV show pretty much, or a movie or whatever, because they had just such quality to it. Not so much anymore with music videos. Now it's just,
I don't even know. I assume they still make music videos.
They do. I don't know why.
Just like they made them before MTV also. I just have no idea where on earth they played them, but they did make them.
The only music video I remember that I don't think I've ever seen on MTV was Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. Just it had like all the do-do-do-do-do, like all the trippy stuff going along with it. The question is, do you remember? But no,
it's a copyright strike if you keep going there, Jim.
When well, that's why I'm not going. No, going like getting off of school. I always remember TRL, Total Request Live, with Carson Daly.
Mid to late 90s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back when the boy band was the big thing. Actually, any large group of people singing was a big thing. You had, like the NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls, whatever.
I was more a fan of, I don't know what it was called off the top of my head, but it ran at like 1 to 2 in the morning, and that's when they would run like techno videos and stuff like that.
Well,
I want to say it's Liquid Television is what they called it, maybe. like the sub thing, but it's like for an hour they'd run electronica type music.
And they would have like there were like TV shows on there as well that were like remote control and I don't
Eon
remember.
Flux.
Oh yeah, there were TV like actual shows. Um,
I guess that's what you call Eon Flux. For those of you who've never seen it, it's a trip. And I don't mean the movie with Angelina Jolie, although I thought that movie was decent.
You mean
Charlize Theron, not Angelina Jolie. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. She's in Tomb Raider. That's something else that's on my mind for another reason. Not a good one either. But nothing dirty. I'm talking like the Tomb Raider franchise is like circling the drain from what I hear. But yeah, Eon Flux, like the cartoon version of that. Jesus, that was weird. What was the Max was on there? There was some show with a guy had a giant head. Was it just called The Head?
Max Headroom.
No, not Max Headroom.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they had some weird cartoons on there.
But no, the shows that I always enjoy, they're the ones that I liked. Pop up video, where it was like,
oh yeah, all the little
like blurbs about like either about the music video or about the artist, about if they're singing about something in particular, it'll be like, well, some sort of historical fact, and then you had Say What, which was where you would actually see the lyrics of the song going by. And I remember one thing that was fairly funny about that is when they would play a Bone Thugs and Harmony on Say What, and you couldn't even read the stuff because it was flying by so fast. And then like evolutions of like that show was went into Say What karaoke, which was the same thing, but it was karaoke. But no, it's nowadays just sound like a bunch of old people talking about back in my day they actually played.
Yeah, you want to talk about old? Do you remember Kennedy, the woman that was on there? She got black hair, glasses, kind of a higher pitched voice, nasally kind of a little bit.
I believe so, but
yeah, she's a pundit on Fox News now. Mainly Fox Business, but yeah, she shows up in the other channels too. I just flip it through one day and I was like, was that Kennedy? And I go back, like, what the hell is she doing on here? And then she's like she like works for them, it's bizarre. You think, people involved in the music industry tend to lean in the other direction politically, but
well, and I think that kind of has been a shift more recently where before people I don't know, I think in the past it wasn't as much.
Yeah, I don't think it was as slanted. And that's why you see some of these older people that have been in music and movies. They don't all lean to the left. But no, I thought that was funny. And then a couple of the older VJs, I believe is what they called them at the time, because they're not disc jockeys, they're video jockeys. Yep. Some of them still do shows on Sirius, the 80s channel. So like Nina Blackwood and Alan Hunter are on there. I don't know. Is Kurt Loder still alive?
I do not know.
Yeah, he used to do all the news on there, and like you think, oh, MTV News. No, they actually did like serious news stuff. Believe it or not, because Kurt Loder like tried to be a real journalist most of the time, from what I recall. In fact, have you seen the movie Atomic Blonde?
No, I have not seen it.
Okay,
I had to think there for a second.
I'm going to make this a very short story, and I know I say that a lot, but I'm going to try real hard here. So Atomic Blonde takes place just before the fall of the Berlin Wall. Spoiler alert, the wall falls by the end of the movie. Just in case you don't know your Cold War history, the Berlin Wall did get torn down. I actually remember watching that on TV when it happened. And my dad actually like pulled me to the side, like, watch this is going to be important historical stuff. And it was. So in the movie, at the very end of the movie, the wall's being torn down, and there's a TV on in the background at one point, and it's MTV, and it's Kurt Loder, and it's the broadcast from then, talking about the wall being torn down. And like then he jumps to like the music news of the day, even though it's like the biggest possible story of the moment. And then he jumps to Milli Vanilli and lip syncing, and I was like, oh, that brings back memories.
Oh yes, back when yes. Oh, jeez. Though, I mean, I guess technically people do still lip sync, just usually stuff that they've seen in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, but no, so getting
Man, I just thought that was funny there that like that probably was the actual broadcast and like the single biggest geopolitical thing probably of the entire year that year is happening, and it's like then in other news, Milli Vanilli. It's like Milli Vanilli, really?
well, I mean, I guess. Well, then that's the thing. I mean, I think the same problem you have today is that people just don't care about what's going on in the world. And I mean, I hand it to MTV because at least they knew that, well, this is a way to get people to care a little bit, is put the news on the, a station that you're going to have the youth or younger people and watching. And, maybe you'll get a few people that'll actually pick it up and
Yeah.
pay attention, care about it.
Well, I thought it was better handled than how they portrayed it in Spies Like Us. You seen that?
Yes.
Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd. So at the end of the movie, they
Because that's where they end up with where they're in the
they're in Russia.
because they're out in the snow and they find that
Their job is to commandeer one of those Soviet trucks that has the nuclear missile on the back.
Yep.
And then they're supposed to put in instructions. They don't know the instructions are going to launch the missile at the United States. And then it fires, and the Russians are like, "Why'd you do that?" And they're like, "We don't know. We didn't know we were doing that." And then they realize, like, Dan Aykroyd's character figures out it's headed to the United States. Like, well, we've got approximately this much time before they detect it, this much time before we launch our counterattack, and this much time before the Soviet Union is a glowing glass crater. So, like, well, we got about 45 minutes.
that's where they got those hot Russian girls.
And everyone's like, well, if we're going down, like, all right. So they all just kind of break up to their respective tents. And so, but then he realizes they can reprogram the missile. And so they avert disaster by doing that. But the whole point was to test basically the Star Wars system. And it was going to fire a beam to destroy the missile.
Yep.
Well, the beam misses and hits an MTV satellite instead. And so it blows it up, and there's a couple girls watching MTV there in their room, and it's like they got the it's got the astronaut guy planting the flag. Then their TV blows up, and they're just like, awesome.
Gosh, I just realized that Spies Like Us makes me think of the one guy's story in Mallrats with the plane going down.
Oh, yeah, we'll probably not repeat that story.
But the moral of it is when when life's getting ready to when your life's flashing before your eyes and you're thinking this may be my last moment on earth,
May as well go with a bang. Figuratively and or literally in this case, but yeah, although I do like the end of the story. But then everyone just put it away and just no one ever talked about it. And you're like, well, how'd you hear about it? I always like stories like that. I like how Pirates of the Caribbean actually called that out, though. Where they're like, well, if they kill everyone, who's telling the stories? If there's no survivors.
Well, that's why you always have to leave a survivor.
Yeah.
To tell the tale.
Well, that was in Desperado. They said that, right? Because, I don't remember who it is that's going in front of him to each town, like to tell the story. And they're like, well, how'd you hear about this? Like, well, he left one guy alive to tell the story, Like he intentionally, like, leaves someone left. Who was it that went in front of him? That's going to bother me now. Totally irrelevant to our video. Sorry, folks. I'm going to look that up later.
Well, I was going to say, our entire conversation is irrelevant to the video. We're building a boombox here, which if, for those that are still watching, we're getting close to finishing it here. So we're kind of like these smaller sets like this that just, you can put together in just a few minutes, where it's just a moment of relaxation where you're not stressing that, okay, like Owen putting together his Dungeons and Dragons set. If it's anything like our bigger sets that we've put together, it's a month-long thing to try to, put together. Because, I mean, I think he said it had, I don't know, 20 some odd bags in it.
Oh, I believe that.
And you'll sit down for a couple hours, you'll get through like 3 or 4 bags, maybe 5 bags, but you can't, unless you're just dedicating an hour to every single day, you're going to stop and say, you know what, putting that off to the side for a little bit.
I don't know. I've not ever encountered that.
Well, you've just
I haven't put together any like the 2,000 some odd piece sets. Like I have a couple of the modulars. I just have to actually put them together yet. So I just haven't hit that point. Like whenever I built the castle that I built, just freestyling it, that thing's got to have 1,500 some odd pieces in it. And I built it in a couple different phases, but it was more a matter of me trying to figure out what I'm going to do next,
So I'm just taking a moment here. I was just checking out something. I say, actually, the clutching power on these, which is a Lego term, but the clutch, it's fairly decent. I mean, I'm not seeing it like falling apart. It doesn't seem like it's not stable or anything. And
so you're saying this is definitely a step up from the older Mega Blocks.
Yeah, I mean, you heard that. It's snapped together pretty good. It said it would have a couple of extra pieces. It's got 2 stickers that go along with it. I'm not looking forward to putting the one on the mixtape. Mixtapes. Back when you had to listen to the radio, wait for your song that you want to record comes on, and...
Yeah, that reminds me of a thing. I think it was on The Daily Show. This is back in like the Napster days, when people were complaining about the fact that they couldn't just acquire music now for free. I don't remember who was on there. It wasn't John Stewart, it was one of the other guys. And they were like, well, let me tell you about this other invention. And he pulls out a little radio and he's like, you see this thing? It's got all the free music you could ever want. You just pop this little antenna up, you turn the dial to what you want to hear, and there you go. Sure, you got commercials, but it's all free. It's only going to cost you the batteries.
Yeah, and then, if you wanted to record anything, you had to sit there with a cassette tape, wait till, the DJ stopped talking so that you could hit it. Which made me always wonder if they purposely talked into every song just to...
Probably. Also why you don't actually hear the end of most songs. It just kind of, somewhere out there, just kind of stops. Especially if it's a song like Stairway to Heaven.
Let's see, does the tape actually fit in there?
I think Anna Got It DeVita's another one that...
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
So, with the finish there, it actually has where you can open it up and...
That is pretty cool.
Pop out the tape there. And so, I know we kind of rambled on there about MTV for a little bit, but I didn't really want to talk about the set. I mean, I'll give you a...
So there's legitimate extra pieces too?
Yeah. Yeah. So it made note on here that extra pieces may be included. So it's probably, more than likely, it's probably a smaller operation. They probably do count and make sure they have all the stuff in there. Who knows? I got 2 extra pieces, 2 of the small pieces, which...
Because not to talk about the other brand, but I know Lego does it intentionally. Like if you buy 2 copies of the same set, it will have the same extra parts. It's on purpose. And Lego has said that the whole point is to give you more parts, over time to like do other things with the sets, to give you some options. So that's why I was curious if those were actual extras and they're following Lego's example, or...
Yeah, no, they made note that there would be some extras in there, but for a little 96-piece set, I mean, the price is good, the build quality is good. I mean, I think it looks all right, and
yeah, I mean it's solid. The door opens and closes pretty good there. It's a good application job on the sticker there, Jim. I'm going to put stickers on my sets.
Well, I didn't do so good on the mixtape one, but you know what though? If you've ever seen stickers on mixtapes, like, I think of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's always just a little bit crooked.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to go like across to the front of it or something, but...
No, I mean, Honestly, for the price of the set, I may go back and pick up the other
The astronaut.
the astronaut was a little bit more. It was because he was a little bit bigger set. Because
Yeah.
the cassette tape, as a giant cassette, well, actually probably the regular size as a regular cassette tape, was the same price as this one. I want to say the astronaut was like, I don't know, $10 to $15. I didn't look at it. I was like, I'm gonna buy this, see if it's worth the money. Which actually for $5, I think it would probably be that. But no, it was nice to put it together. Just talk about MTV for just a little bit because it was definitely a thing that we grew up with, and yeah, now it's just turned into reality television at that point. And probably a bygone era with music videos. I mean, I do know they still make music videos, but having a channel dedicated to music videos is probably a thing of the past. And YouTube pretty much has YouTube and any other streaming service has pretty much made that obsolete too. So
Yeah, well, that's like if you look up that one song by the Four Non Blondes, it's Hey Ya, whatever that's called, has like a billion and a half views.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those are from the people watching the He-Man cartoon with that,
Yeah.
and then seeing the real one. But yeah, I showed it to someone one time. I was like, yes, that's a B. Like that's how many views this has, and this is not a good song.
No.
As I believe Dennis Leary put it, this isn't a song. This is what some drunk woman coming out of a bar sounds like.
Now the first video that I remember making an impression on me was Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer.
Oh yeah, the claymation.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting video, and I enjoyed that kind of thing. And then you see like Dire Straits' Money for Nothing with their CGI, and
that song is banned in Canada. Do you know that?
Why is that?
Because of a term they use that I'm not going to repeat on here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they use the F word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not the four-letter one.
Referring to people of homosexual.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I didn't know. Which until I actually heard that on the radio, them saying that, it never clicked that word was in the song. But then after that point, I was like, well, I can't unhear it now. It's definitely there, But no, I heard that one day, and I was like, really? I was like, why would they ever ban that song? And the guy explained, I was like, oh, okay. I don't agree with that, but I could see it,
But no, it's like I said, it's a bygone era. But you know what? That's just what happens when you get old. I'm sure it's the exact same thing. My parents were saying, when I don't know something relevant had, to them has went the way of the dinosaur.
Well, it's like
pushing a hoop down the road with a stick.
That's like this post I saw earlier. It's like, when did everyone become so obsessed with which generation you're in and pissed off those? It used to be there's us, the old people, and the really old people, and none of us liked each other's music, and that's just the way it was.
Well, I know that I'm turning into like my dad, because my dad always listens to, anytime we traveled anywhere, it's 50s and 60s music. Though I do think that he, at the time did listen, to like, I never really heard him listen to 70s music, but I did remember him listening to 80s music. So he did like a little bit of the new stuff at the time, not anymore, but, and now I find myself, when I'm listening to my, Sirius XM, it's usually 90s on 9. That's the station I'm usually on.
Oh, well, I listen to the 60s and 70s rock. I listen to 80s rock too, and I do listen to the 90s channel. And there are some new songs I do like.
Yeah, I'm not.
But they are very few and far between.
Yeah. So,
although there's the hell do they call it? I think they call it. It's not synth music. It's like dark synth music or something. It's essentially like it's wannabe 80s synth music, but it's made now. I like that.
Yeah.
But again, it's emulating 80s music. So.
Yeah.
Like there's one band, let's do a Gunship. They've got a lot of good songs. Like. One of them is like entirely based off the Lost Boys, as near as I can tell, up to and including having in the Lost Boys when they're on the beach as the concerts guy there in saxophone. Tim Capella's his name. If you ever look in the credits, so I was watching the credits one day. I was like, who the hell played themselves? Because there was one guy that says himself, and I was like, who is this? So I looked it up, and it's the saxophone guy. Well, they got him for the song. He's still a saxophone guy. And still pretty ripped, too, by the way. I mean, like, age is not... Like, he's filled in a little bit. He's not quite like that. But I mean, he's still a pretty big guy. He's in a couple of their videos. It's pretty cool.
All right. Well, I think we've went a little bit,
Yeah,
off the
we're off the reservation.
which is fine because that was the whole point of this video. It would have been a 10-second video if I just talked about the product. So, but definitely, I would recommend, this for a set if you just want something quick to put together, something to put up on a shelf to bring back those memories.
If I ever get the setup, I have several Lego sets that I have not put together yet because I want to film them being put together. So,
well, and we'll see about maybe letting you come over here and do that. So,
well, very, very briefly, you remember the Stormtrooper mech sets? Yeah. Well, I speculated in the video, like, well, surely they won't have the Rebels have these. Yeah, one of the summer sets is Luke Skywalker in like an X-Wing inspired mech. So I think I have to get Darth Vader now because I actually kind of like the look of the Luke Skywalker one too, but I didn't see just a generic one. I think it's just Luke. So
I don't know. Star Wars and Gundams, I could see it.
Well, I mean, the other thing I said was, well, if the Empire has it, then the technology exists. So I guess the Rebels should also probably have a version of it. So
yeah, true. Well. But anyways, if
there's a story for another day.
If there's a another one of these sets or a set that you've seen and you want us to do, put together, maybe talk about either the set or just rambling like we do, definitely let us know down in the comments down below. Again, to help with all the YouTube stuff, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that stuff if you haven't already done that. And we'll see you in the next Let's Build.
Keep on clicking. Snapping.
I don't know. Well, one day we'll be good at these outros.
But... No, I'm good at the BattleTech ones and the X-Men ones.
Well, yeah,
I've got catchphrase there from the shows. Like I know what to say. Here, I don't know.
Well, we could just do the Lego.
May the clutch power be with you. I don't know.
Hey.
See you folks later.
See you.